Yes, my people, welcome back to AFTV and welcome back to another AFTV Live. I'm joined by James. How are you, James?
Good. Yeah, I'm good. It's good to be back.
Good. Here to deliver the news of the day off the back of a Jubilee weekend. Let me ask you this. I haven't seen you in a while. Obviously, you haven't really been in the country, but you can explain that to the viewers. But yeah, how have you been? How was your Jubilee weekend and your week, actually, shall we say?
Yeah, I very much took the extra days off as an opportunity to just go away for the week. I got my brother's not working. He's very much not working. He's having too much fun, actually. He's studying in Barcelona. So I just went to visit him with some family and some friends. It was nice. Yeah, had a nice week off. Do you know what? There's something quite bliss about not thinking about transfers and signings and Europa League and all kind of coming for us in the autumn. But no, it was a nice week. Yeah, nice. It was good. But it's good to be back, and it feels like things are starting to speed up a little bit for Arsenal.
Yeah,
maybe.
It does. It does feel like that. And I asked Jordan when I had him on here on one of these AFTV lives, and he says he doesn't get involved in all the transfer rumours and all the hype.
Sure.
I haven't got time for it. Like it's all rubbish. He goes, he commends Robbie for transfer day and whatnot, but he doesn't want to get involved in it because it's too much mental stress. It does take a lot of time to research who's rumoured, who's looking to come, will they fit in or not. But I suppose that is part of our job. So I get the sense of when you're away, we try to detach ourselves from it, but we're back in, and I do enjoy it, I must say, a little bit. I do enjoy it a little bit, just to see some of the people that are linked to us, what really feels realistic and what doesn't, which we're going to get into today.
But I used to get really, really excited about transfers. I used to love deadline day, you know, literally doing the whole 12-hour binge on Sky Sports and watching their coverage and everything. And I've fallen out of love a little bit with the whole kind of excitement around transfers, just because I think of the amount of windows Arsenal have had. Maybe I can only think of 2 or 3 in the last 5-6 years that I've genuinely been, happy or excited about. And we've also had great windows that haven't amounted to what we ultimately wanted. And I think sort of as I'm growing up and watching more football, I'm feeling the kind of effects of a transfer window a bit less. I'm not
desensitizing yourself to
a little bit. I mean, it's I'd say it's not a great advert for Transfer Daily, that is it?
The older we get, the more we're kind of doing.
It's always very, like, I'm excited by the Gabriel Jesus links, but I'll genuinely be excited once he's through the door and he's our player. Then I'll be like, right, okay. Now let's see what this is about.
So you don't buy into like the Martinelli putting a story on Instagram of him in the background thinking,
once upon a time, I'd have seen, a number plate with 15 AAK on the back and thought, Isaac's in London, it's happening, and it would have been amazing.
Yeah.
6 months on, I just think we've seen it all, haven't we? From cloud formations to what side of a seat Gabriel's sitting in a car and all that. But I tell you what, it's a funny season, the transfer season.
It is.
But we have a lot of work to do. Arsenal have a lot of work to do, and that always brings news and intrigue and all that. And there's more of it today.
There is, and let's kind of get into it. Let's get into the kind of the main heading to start with, so you guys that are watching and listening can kind of get the daily news and the main story of today, which was Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta. I'm reading this here off a reporter in the UK. It says Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta has promised Zinchenko a midfield role at the club in a desperate bid to convince him to leave Manchester City. So that's kind of the main talking point of today. Obviously, we know Zinchenko wants to play in the midfield. Obviously, he has played in the position of left back as well. For Arsenal, Arteta is trying to, bribe him over to say, we'll give you your favoured role. It'd be interesting to kind of discuss this whole topic of Zinchenko in the midfield, of who does he replace? Does he start straight away? Does he replace Xhaka? Does he replace the Partey? Will he slot in at left back at times? We can have a full conversation around it. It'd be good to hear everyone's thoughts and opinions on it as well. Zinchenko, would you be happy with the signing? I know I did read a comment right at the beginning saying, our takes in... Yeah, Daniel says, I don't know Zinchenko as a midfielder, but I would take him as a left back alongside Tierney. So it'd be interesting to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions on it. James, I want to get obviously your side to it all. Zinchenko, would you be happy with that signing? Is it one of Robbie started at 10. We need 10 signings. Me and Jordan narrowed it down to about 6. I think 6 is more realistic. Then we did another show and said, you know what? Realistically, the way the Arsenal's been moving, the rumours that we're seeing, the players being linked to Arsenal, and just kind of being an Arsenal fan and understand how transfer winners work, we think 4 is really what we're looking at. Is Zinchenko one in the 4 that you think, yeah, that would be good business for Arsenal?
Yeah, I really like Zinchenko. I think he's like, I'm looking at the comment section. Some of the criticism already is, if you want to get him as a backup left back, fine, but he doesn't start on our midfield. Listen, if you're playing in any position in that Man City team, and you're playing for Pep Guardiola for the last 4 or 5 years, which he has been, you've clearly got something about you. Zinchenko has often been deployed as a left back, but think about what the left backs are asked to do in a Man City system. A, to come inside and basically be a midfielder.
Yep.
That's one big thing.
Left and right back as well. They even
yeah.
the other side as well. It's exactly the same, but go on.
B, it's to get forward, and we saw what impact he had when he came on at half-time, I think, for Man City, in their final game of the season against Villa, and how he was beating men, coming inside, showing his trickery, just causing problems. So he can do things as almost just a sitting player at a base from deep. He can get forward and be, kind of electric and exciting and beating men and showing his quality. But he's also played as a left back, which means naturally he will have developed, defensive qualities and an understanding for defensive positioning and one-on-one duels that will be crucial as well. So I really like the idea of this move, because I think what we need to understand is that Arteta's not going to build a squad of 22 players who are all capable of interchanging with each other. Right. That's what we want. And I think when Robbie, we kind of joke about it, when Robbie alludes to 10 players, I think he's not far off in saying we probably need 7 or 8 first team quality to then have 2 really good squads that can go at it. I think this summer's about adding players who are going to instantly upgrade us, and that's going to cost 40 to 50 million a player, roughly that, maybe 30 to 50 million a player. So if you're going to do that, and you've got maybe 150 million to spend, and you've got quite a few areas in the squad that you need to address, I think players like Zinchenko can cover multiple roles: left back, central midfield, maybe even out on the wing. I think that's a really smart piece of business. Whether we can get it done is something else, but I really like this link.
Okay, let me just move this conversation to this sort of ideology of the fact that, Arteta, is he building, before we get to super chats and the comments, is Arteta trying to build for a 1 defensive mid player and 2 in front, in the sense of, because if that's how I think Zinchenko really fits the system. I think Arteta does want that, but this season he hasn't been able to do that. But I know he's always wanted to play 3 in the midfield, but with 1 sitting and 2 in front. Obviously with Partey being his injury record, it may hinder or promote him getting 2 midfielders, which I know you want to speak about in a second. But do you think that's what Arteta kind of wants? Maybe just a lone defensive midfielder, while he has 2 people in front, like the Martin Odegaard and Zinchenko, who I think would be perfect in front of a Partey sort of style.
Yeah. I mean, Partey was a big investment for him, because he got his pivot man. He got the man who sits at the base of a midfield 3 and everything goes through him. I think you could see that while Elneny did a good job when he came in towards the end of last season, I think you could see Arsenal missed Partey. Partey was that cog in the machine that allowed us to be competitive against City and Liverpool, because whenever they wanted to overcommit a little bit too much, or they wanted to press, or they wanted to try and camp Arsenal in their half, Partey has whether it's a first touch that takes you away from the players, or whether it's that ability to drive into space, he's got that ability to unlock the game for Arsenal and get us going the other way. And a lot of Arteta's signings and bigger investments have been in those key areas where you've got Partey at the base, you've got Gabriel and White as his centre-backs, you've got Ramsdale as a goalkeeper. All 4 of them can pass. They're not all perfect at it, but they can all pass a football under pressure. So I don't think he's going to move away from that. I think Arsenal's best football last season came with Partey at the base, and he knows that. And I think he'll just try and build the ingredients that can complement him and everything around that. He's the springboard, and now we need everything to kind of
come off
build
that.
Beyond that.
I'm going to read the super chat from Benny. Says he absolutely bosses the pitch yesterday's signing, please, in regards to Zinchenko.
Yeah.
And the reason why I did ask you about the 3 in the midfield with 1 just sitting and 2 in front is because, does that really then, will Arsenal want to get another midfielder if they get Zinchenko, which I know you want to speak out? Is Tielemens still a strong link if that's the case? And if it is, does it really push Xhaka aside? Because we saw Xhaka deployed more higher up the pitch, the left side, and that's where, he started playing really well for Arsenal. I think Zinchenko, really, if he does sign for Arsenal, which is looking quite possible, I don't see him linked to many other teams as well. he will kind of take Xhaka's role more than the Partey role, really. Then is from what I'm seeing. I'm sure he will utilize that left side, can be attacking, but also very sound defensively as well. So
yeah,
that's kind of what it'll be interesting to see if Arteta does make that change very early on in the start of the new season, or we might see it in pre-season when we go and watch them in America. But that makes sense to me if we bring in Zinchenko. Very versatile, going to use that left side like what Xhaka did, but a better quality. He's a lot younger, more mobile. And yeah, it'll be good to see, especially and it gives other options for like Martin Odegaard and Emile Smith Rowe to play in front of Partey, say, or another defensive midfielder, which I'm sure we're going to talk about Tielemens as well. Does it hinder the chance of us signing him if we get a Zinchenko?
Yeah, a lot to answer there.
Sorry.
I went on. I've missed you. Because I don't want to forget a point you made about him being the Xhaka replacement, not the Partey replacement. Right. Now, anyone who's watched enough of Zinchenko and knows about him, when he was a young player and his time at Man City, he's a midfielder converted to fullback, not the other way around. Now, I guess the difference between the two is, I don't know if you remember, Pep Guardiola once took Philippe Lahm, who was one of the best right backs in the world, and put him at the base of midfield for Bayern Munich. He was the holding midfield. Everything kind of played through him. Now, I don't think he stuck with that for too long, to be fair. But we've also seen it where Fabinho has been a full-back or a centre-back, and he's moved into midfield. And typically, defenders who move into midfield are because they've got a level of quality on the ball or a level of intelligence and understanding of the game that coaches feel, you can move them into the base of midfield and they can do that job. You're still tapping into their defensive instincts, but you're getting a little bit more of that out of them going forward. Zinchenko's not that. He's the other way. He's a midfielder converted fullback.
And sorry to cut you. To people that know football and football, going through football, they will know most fullbacks are either failed wingers or midfielders that have been pulled into the fullback position because of their technical ability and game.
I didn't say that.
But that's the truth.
I didn't say
listen, I've been in the game. I go to a lot of academies. That is the truth. It's either failed wingers get pulled into that position or midfielders that move.
I think Jamie Carragher said it about Gary Neville. Anyway,
listen. If you know. But anyway, go on.
Guardiola did this with Fabian Delph.
Yeah,
he moved Fabian Delph from a box-to-box midfielder who had a bit of skill and a bit of but he was very much the energy up and down the pitch for Aston Villa, and he turned him into a left back who again played a very similar role. It was kind of that. The inverted fullback role, who protected the centre backs, covered the holding midfielder as well. But had enough distribution of flair and quality to be effective in slightly more attacking areas when they had to be. So there is a difference for me going from defence into midfield and then the other way around. Okay. Zinchenko, the reason I'm saying all this is I think Zinchenko is going to be that Xhaka replacement, but he's going to have a bit more flair and ability than Xhaka. He's going to have a bit more quality in the final third. In fact, a lot more. Which is not. It's not a dig. It's not Xhaka's strength to do that. So I think he will come in and be that advanced number 8 on the left-hand side. A little bit of what I think Wilshere would have been if he'd kind of kept fit and we played the 4-3-3 more often. He played it sometimes, but yeah, I don't think he's going to come and be playing either alongside Partey as a 2 or replacing Partey. I think he's very much going to be an attacking option, a creative option on the left side of our midfield. Okay, James, so what does it mean for Granit Xhaka? I know we're going to go move it onto Tielemens. What does it mean for him? But what does it mean for Granit Xhaka then? Because Granit Xhaka's kind of came out, we've heard him in his interview saying he wants to stay until something that's big has been achieved at Arsenal. I want to be here for that. Obviously, El Nenny's just signed a new deal. Does Granit Xhaka, because I've got Stan Kroenke here in the chat as well saying we need an upgrade on Xhaka, not a backup. So listen, spend your money then.
Great response. But does it mean does he become the bench? For me, obviously, we would want to see Zinchenko go into that side. He's more mobile, more agile, more quality on the ball. That's no offence to Xhaka. He's had a good season, but we would want to see. I don't want to see him be number 2 to Xhaka. So with El Nenny still being at the club, what does it mean for him? Does he have to just be a bench player? Will he be one of those second choice players, or would he be looking to be moved on, do you think? I know we don't know this at all because we don't know what's going to happen, but I want to get your opinion on that. What do you think is going to happen there?
I've had a bit of a feeling he could be off. Did I say that?
You did say that to me actually a while ago. You were like, and me and Robbie were like, nah, we were both disagreeing.
I've had a bit of a feeling he could be off. It was kind of sparked by sort of some takes I'd seen on social media, and I stopped and thought, actually, it makes sense. And then what started to really tilt it was the substitution in the Everton game. Kind of the fact he came off for Lokonga. He got a real round of applause from the Emirates crowd.
You was there, weren't you?
Yeah, I wondered whether that was Arteta subtly giving him his chance to say goodbye. But it's all serious speculation.
Okay.
I mean, I think really,
there's some.
I think if we'd heard something pretty immediate, which was, Roma are back in, they really want him, then I think I'd still be feeling the way I did before. But now, a week and a half on, we've not really heard anything. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. He might have one more year, but I don't think he's part of the long term. I just have a feeling maybe both will be ready for a change.
Yeah,
I think Xhaka might be in the Arsenal fans and players, not players, but the Arsenal fans and club as a whole might be ready for a change. But that's nothing. It's not a reflection of his performances over the last year, which I think are greatly improved under Arteta.
Massively.
But ultimately, to answer your question, he doesn't start. Xhaka if Zinchenko's in. I just think Zinchenko's got more about him in the final third. Now, maybe when you're playing Liverpool at home, you'd think that maybe Xhaka comes in for a bit more steel. But the one thing Arteta's shown is that he wants to go punch for punch with these teams now. So, I think Zinchenko would ultimately take Xhaka's place. But someone you mentioned before was Yuri Tielemens.
Yeah.
And what that means for him. And I think, again, I don't think the Zinchenko deal would scupper any move for Tielemans because, again, we're looking at two players that really, I think for the quality they've got, are probably coming in cut price a little bit. Tielemans a very good player, but a year left on his contract. Zinchenko's basically been on the bench for City. Or he's never really been deemed their starter, whether it be a left-back in midfield or whatever. He might be ready for first-team action. That's supposedly what they're saying about Jesus, who we're going to talk about in a bit as well. And I just think Tielemans very different. I think Tielemans more of that kind of roaming, creative player, wants to get the ball off the defence, keep things ticking. He scores goals from distance. And I think if you can add that extra quality in midfield with Tielemans, and you're adding a Zinchenko who can play on the other side of midfield to Tielemans, can also play at left back.
Can he cover Partey?
Tielemans can cover Partey.
Right.
I think more so than Zinchenko could.
Interesting. Yeah.
And then suddenly you're looking at your midfield three being built out of Odegaard, Smith Rowe, Partey, Tielemans, Zinchenko, Xhaka. You've still got El Neni Lokonga. I mean, you've got some serious options there with Smith Rowe being able to play on the left as well. I know this isn't the incoming influx of world-class talent and everyone was hoping this summer would finally be.
It wasn't going to...
But I think that's a really effective way of spending your money. I'm not saying Arsenal don't need to do more. They'd absolutely need to do more than that. But I think Zinchenko and Tielemans coming in is... Listen, it's not... What do they say? They say, does it move the needle? Is that what they say? I think that's the saying. I don't know if it does, levels. I don't think it guarantees us top four and a chance for top three next season. But I think there's every chance those players kick on and Arsenal do go up a few levels of that midfield.
James, more so than years Bissouma. So Tielemans over Bissouma, because obviously he was linked with Bissouma as well. And I know there's going to be a lot of fans here and a lot of people listening and thoughts on they would probably rather see Bissouma. Bissouma or Tielemans, you'll deploy them kind of in different roles. They have similarities, but I think they are two different players in a sense of style, but a lot of people will be saying, well, I'd probably take Bissouma over Tielemans. Would you?
Well, I don't know if you call it super chat from Hadi. He says, would be a great signing, he's talking about Zinchenko, if he's bought with Tielemans / Bissouma, not instead of them. That's right. Arsenal need 5 experienced signings, 2 forward players, 2 midfielders and a left back. Hadi, I completely agree, only I could see Cedric, Tavares staying, Norton Cuffy being promoted to the squad. Tomiyasu can play right and left back. Tomiyasu can play left back when White plays right back, so Saliba plays centre back. And if you brought in Zinchenko, he can cover at left back. So I think there'll be enough there with 2 forwards and 2 midfielders. I want more. Arsenal need to do more. But I think there's enough in terms of getting through a season. 2 forwards, 2 forwards, not 2 shots. So one strike, one forward. So in terms of Tielemans, Bissouma, I think Tielemans and Bissouma are very different. Bissouma he'd be a Partey backup / someone to compete for his position. I appreciate he can play box to box. I appreciate Partey can play box to box. But I think Arteta's looking for players who are more effective in the final third. Players who are they're almost number 10s converted to advanced number 8s. That's what he's done with Odegaard. So I don't see Bissouma being that player. I think Tielemans more naturally does fill that void.
Do you not worry about Partey though, and his injury record?
Yeah.
In the sense that I actually believe Arteta really does want to deploy that one defensive midfield and two in front. But that is a big worry on if Partey can last a whole season. Now, Lokonga is. He's looking at Lokonga probably to take over him at some point. He's definitely probably won't be ready next season, but you'll probably see a lot of Lokonga in Europa League early stages of the game, early stages of the campaign. But again, I suppose you said Tielemens can play that role, but I know ideally a lot of fans are going to want to back up for Bissouma really, or to challenge really that position considering his injury record so far. But I don't know, it'd be very interesting. In my mind, I understand Tielemens and Zinchenko, I do. Bissouma, I did say to you off camera, I'm kind of done with the whole link between now. I don't think he is the right man. But yeah, I do worry about Partey being the guy that we're kind of relying on to last a 30 game season, plus now cup games actually.
I spoke to Dr. Raj Palbra.
Oh, you did? Check it out, people on the channel as well.
Yeah, it came out last week, and he spoke about Partey's injuries. He said, well, actually, if you look at them, and I'm paraphrasing. He said, do go watch it back because he explained a lot better than I'm about to now. But essentially, his injury in pre-season before the start of the season was a Chelsea player recklessly flying in on him, and hurting his ankle. He was out till September, but then actually played September all the way through to the Palace game in April without injuries. So, his injury record this season wasn't as bad. Then he gets a hip injury, quad or hip or whatever it was.
This season.
Yeah, maybe quad was the year before. Yeah. But then I think it's a hip injury he's got now. I can't remember. But anyway, this one again, I think was an impact injury or something completely separate to anything he's had before. So 2 injuries isn't in one season it's so bad. It's just more that he had the ones he had the year before, and it's twice he's missed key parts of seasons with injury. So it feels frustrating in that sense. But again, I think with El Neni, Lokonga covering, I just think someone like El Neni, I understand to many people he's probably a little uninspiring, but I understand how an El Neni can be very effective when you've got the right 2 players either side of him 100%. That can facilitate everything. I just want to address some comments because I've seen a few of these. I think they're semi-fair.
I've got some nice ones. I've got some good ones as well. But go on, you do yours.
Well, Nick says all of a sudden Zinchenko is some great option in Arsenal's midfield, and there's been a few of these saying, why do we want Man City's rejects? We need to raise our standards. I think there's a point at which you go, I don't really want the players that the teams we're supposed to be challenging don't want. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Origi is obviously a good player, but he didn't start for Liverpool. So if we want to compete with them, he shouldn't start for us. Do you get what I'm saying? That's technically the logic. It doesn't really work like that.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But that's kind of the logic.
There's a lot of things you can go against. You can argue against that because where we are, position, what is more desirable at certain other clubs are gone.
Well, it's the same with Zinchenko a little bit. He doesn't start for City. We want to be competing. But I think the thing is that you can see with a Zinchenko or a Jesus that they're a very good age, that they're going to get better. I mean, they have been getting better. I think they will only get better. And I don't think with Man City it's a case of, the players they're desperate to keep. They kind of fight tooth and nail to keep. Guardiola's always been quite open about, players who've given their all to the club and have served him well. If they don't want to be at the club anymore, he's kind of more than happy to say, cool, we'll recycle it. Now, Leroy Sané wasn't wanted sort of towards the end at City, but or more so maybe he wanted to leave. But the point is, it wasn't really working. But no one's questioning whether he's kind of good enough. So, yeah, I don't think Zinchenko is this transformative option for Arsenal. But I think he's a very shrewd bit of business if you can get him for 25 to 35 million, who can cover 2 positions very, very well and offer us something different in those areas.
Good profile for Mikel Arteta as well. Seems like he's
worked with Arteta.
Well. Seems like a player that won't moan. Seems like a player that will get on with it. Has actually got good quality as well. I think. Listen, I'm not gassing Zinchenko up to be this next superstar that's going to change the whole of Arsenal's next season. Of course not. But these are, I think, viable options that. Like we said,
they are upgrades. They are upgrades, and they are good, and they offer versatility.
But I must say, as an Arsenal fan, I'm gonna want more, and I don't want that shiny new toy. I don't want a big sign. I would love some lower profile signings like the Zinchenkos, like the Tielemens. But then
I don't think they're low profile. That's the thing. Not to me, they're not mega high profile. Yeah. But I think that there was a point where maybe even a year ago, if Arsenal were doing what they can to bring in Zinchenko and Tielemans, but Tielemans mainly. I think Arsenal fans are going, wow, finally, a proper midfielder, good on the ball. can compete with the physicality of this league. Sure, maybe not the quickest, but can definitely, get around the pitch. He's good on the ball, scores goals from distance as well. Bit of a leader. Was he captaining Anderlecht at a young age or something? I think there was a time where that signing would have been really exciting for Arsenal fans, and because the last year hasn't gone great for him at Leicester, we're kind of like, but
that's how I feel. That's exactly how I feel. That's exactly what I feel. Which you're right. It could be just recency bias, but I don't mind these signings if I see a Serge Gnabry walk through the door alongside these.
So is Serge Gnabry for you like the world-class addition, the marquee, the creme de la creme?
I'm going to be honest. I think he is. I think he's that signing where they'll do a big PR campaign. He returns home, all this stuff, and I would. I'd be excited. What they told me to be many years ago. That would get me a bit more excited now. It's a little bit biased considering the 6 signings that we got in the summer window last year. None of them for me were big, wow signings, but they proved to me that they can wear the Arsenal shirt and wear it with pride, and they've done well enough for me to be like, okay, cool. You add a few more additions with maybe one key signing, like Gnabry. I think that works. I don't say you just get.
Well, there were upgrades in their positions,
correct,
and they fit the Arteta mold. So, Arsenal did improve last season. Whether it was whether they improved enough, whether they, sure, they're all debates to be had. But the signings did improve Arsenal, and actually maybe a lot of our shortcomings were just in other areas that had nothing to do with them really.
Agreed.
So but I'm excited by the Tielemens and Zinchenko links, and I'd be happy if that's, it's not Bruno Guimaraes, as we were excited about in January a year ago. It's not like when Liverpool signed Thiago, where they went and got Bayern Munich's best, midfielder and now look at them, they challenge for a quadruple. But I would still be excited. Excited is a strong word. I'd still be very intrigued to see what Tielemans and Zinchenko do for Arsenal.
We're going to move on because we spent a lot of time on this. But would you be disappointed if we get? Would you? Yeah, be disappointed if we get less than 4 signings in this summer window.
I would be, but I'm tailoring my expectation to that.
Okay, because that's exactly how I feel right now as a fan.
Depends what the 4 are.
Right, but I've kind of put my number at 4. I think we obviously speculated and went crazy with how much. Well, I know what we need, but I think 4 is a reasonable number for Arsenal to then kick on. We should be, if we get more.
My reasonable expectation of Arsenal is 5. Wow, and so that's 2 forwards, 2 midfielders, and a proper versatile fullback. And that, I think, off the back of this last season and how patient Arsenal fans have been and where this squad of young players is, I don't think that's a lot to expect. So if the 4 are 4 really exciting signings, then I'll say, you know what, good bit of business. You've done what you can maybe. I'll give them benefit of the doubt in that. But yeah, I'd want 5.
Okay, fair enough. Right, we're going to move on to Gabriel Jesus. So the big talking topic really around Arsenal at the moment. Favoured really to sign for Arsenal. We're hearing about personal agreements being confirmed and stuff. But there's also a lot of rumours floating around that he's now been linked to Real Madrid. Atletico Madrid popped up this morning as well. Tottenham Hotspur have also thrown their hat in the mix. I've got a comment here from David that says Gabriel Jesus and his agents will meet tomorrow afternoon after coming back from international duty. Source is the Athletic UK. That is correct. I believe so. He played obviously against Japan internationally today. They won 1-0. He didn't start, but he did come on, I think, in like 60.
I think he came on with Martinelli, I think.
Yes. Oh, here we go. The people. This could be a sign. Those people are not. The Arsenal. He could be coming. Martinelli and him coming on at the same time. But that is true in what David was saying there. I think communication starts properly between Arsenal and Gabriel Jesus from tomorrow. They'll be having a meeting as well to decide, I guess, what the future could look like with Gabriel Jesus. I don't know what the figure that they're kind of floating around. I've seen it change so much. I saw it started like 35, then went to 55. Now I'm hearing like 60. I don't know what figure they're kind of looking at.
Yeah, I'm thinking if this deal will get done for someone, and it will probably be a £45 million deal. City don't. I know they spent 100 million on Grealish, but City don't actually deal in massive fees. I think Mahrez for 60 million was the most expensive player they'd bought after, before Grealish.
And even that.
And the 100 million was big, but that was a release clause, so they just kind of got it done. I can't remember what they sold Sane for, but I don't think it was
mega money.
I don't think it was like 70 million.
It was either.
I'll have a little look. Let us know in the comment section if you know how much Sane went to Bayern Munich for.
Yeah, do let us know, and also let us know just quickly that question I asked James. Would you be disappointed with less than 4? Would you guys be disappointed? People that listen and watching, would you be disappointed with less than the number you expect to come through the door this summer? And in the transfers, so if you have a number, say like 5, James said 4. Would you be disappointed in Arsenal's transfer window, regardless of who it is, if it's less than that? But yeah, and also the question you asked before. But yeah, bro, I mean, Gabriel Jesus.
Yeah, so on these rumours, I think Spurs are legitimately in for him. I think he's perfect for them. I hate to say it, you know. They don't want someone to really... Listen, they don't really want someone challenging Harry Kane because he'll always be at that level. He's a top player. I hate to say it, but he is. So they'll want a player who can come in for Son or Kulusevski or Kane or whoever and not really disrupt the front three. And he's perfect for that. He's Premier League proved. He can score goals. But I think, and I mean no disrespect to Spurs when I say this. I think I'm just sort of outlining two different paths here. They signed Perisic last week.
Yes.
On a free transfer, 34 years old, as a wing back. Now, I read a great tweet that Conte didn't believe he could play wing back 2 years ago when he first arrived at Inter and sent him on loan to Bayern Munich. So he saw what he did, what he did in that season with him. Inter Milan challenged for the Serie A title again this year. I imagine Perisic played a lot of that. And they're bringing on a free transfer to compete now, to try and win now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're going to try and bring players in who can make them competitive while they've got Conte now, while they've still got Son and Kane at the peak of their powers. With Gabriel Jesus, I think he's won what he's won at City. He's proven himself. I think he will want to go somewhere. And actually, I don't think he wants to be part of some big project, but I think he wants to be the main man. I think he wants to be the number 9. And I think he wants to be at maybe... I'm not saying he wants to be at Arsenal over Tottenham, but I just think the particular allure with Tottenham is Conte and is kind of the immediate, isn't it? And I don't think he's going to be so fazed by that because he's coming from a club where he's done it all. So I think it'll be up to Arteta to convince him and say, listen, I've worked with you. You know my training methods. You know what I'd want to do. You know how I want my teams to play, and you could be the main man in that. And I think that, and the fact that Arsenal will always be a massive club, I think it makes it really interesting.
Let me look at it from, because I had this whole conversation in my head before we went live about Gabriel Jesus. As a player, let me tell you, James, every striker wants to be the main man. Let's get that out there straight away. Yeah. I saw Eddie and Katie come out and say, give me a run of games. I want to be the main. I want to wear that number 9 shirt. I want to be the main guy there. I've seen my other counterparts flourish in their teams. I want to be that guy. Every striker, I've been there. You want to be that main guy. I think when it comes to what's more desirable, some people will say Tottenham now in Champions League, they got Conte there, they seem quite ambitious now moving forward. But as a player himself, it all comes down to that. Are you in it for your career, which I believe he is? He's a young player. He's playing international football. He's going to want to really make a claim for that international sport in Brazil. He wants to make a starting as a starting forward for Brazil. So he's going to want to have games where he's playing and not be second fiddle to Harry Kane and Son. So it all comes down to really what this player wants to do and how he values his career. Because he could be just a benchman and come in on some off games for Tottenham. But I think this Arsenal project is more something you'd want to buy into as a young player myself, and something I would, if I was in his shoes, I'd be saying, you know what, I want to be that guy. And I hope he has that mindset personally.
Maybe, but then other things like ambition come into it, and which clubs show more ambition, and
True.
Do you want to win now, and is this your opportunity? There's a lot of factors, but I think it'll be an interesting battle. I don't think Real Madrid are going to be really into that deal. It sounds like he was offered there. When I hear things like that, I think, so Man City trying to drum up interest from him to try and push up the price. Probably. Is it all negotiation? Is it all leaks to the media to try and get things going? I would have thought he'd be perfect for Diego Simeone at Atletico. And listen, he could be brilliant at Real Madrid, but I don't know. Just my brain, for no reason at all, just says I don't think that one is on.
Yeah, the Real Madrid one, I think is a bit.
But I could easily be wrong, because why not? You could easily fit in there.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll wait and see what happens. But I think things will speed up in the coming days.
Okay, we've got a super chat from Dinam Hate says Jesus, Gnabry, Bissouma, Hickey and Saliba back. I think those are the ones he's kind of...
Yep, Saliba being back, look, it's frustrating we've not had him in the squad the last few years, but looks like he's developed well, and he will cliche, feel like a new signing.
He will. He definitely will.
You know, and that's undoubtedly a boost. I'm looking forward to the competition at centre back next year.
I am as well. And moving on with players returning, some players that may not be returning. We're going to move on to Bellerin. Obviously saying he's not looking like he's going to return to Arsenal. He doesn't want to, but he has been linked to various clubs. Just recently, before we started the show, Juventus were linked to. I read a publication as well in a Spanish publication saying he might be linked to Juventus. I mean, Bellerin would you want him to see him return? Do you think he's better? It works for both clubs with his exit. Do you think James obviously is coming towards the end of his contract soon?
Yeah, time for all parties to move on, and I think they basically did last summer. Now we just need to make it permanent and that. And you know, I think I saw some rumours that basically Betis want Arsenal to cancel his contract, and you know, but that's what happens when you set a precedent and you cancel other people's contracts, and you're just desperate to get players out. And I understand why Arsenal were desperate to get the clear out done to some degree.
Some players,
but with Bellerin, you know, he's just had a good season at Betis. You think you can get something for him, so I wouldn't. I think that's what
Arsenal are counting. I think they're saying, listen, he just won a trophy. He had an okay season on loan. I know he did a loan report as well. So I think he had a good season out there. And and obviously you can tell by the clubs that are interested now. He's seeing there may not be a strong link, but you know there might be a transfer in there that Arsenal can benefit from. Which
there's no chance. I don't think there's any chance. You might see him play a pre-season game or two to keep fit before his move, but I don't think you'll see him in a competitive Arsenal game ever again. But good luck to him, and I hope he gets his move. It sounds like he wants it. The clubs all want it, but it's just about Arsenal getting the right deal for them.
Cashrock came back with your super chat about Sane and says it was around 50 million, but he had a sell-on clause as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's still not a lot.
That's not
pretty decent
money, though, is it?
I feel like if it were the other way around, you know, Man City was signing a Sane from whoever, you'd be paying 70 million, I think. Money. So, yeah,
even at the
top
time.
Player.
Sharef says, I think Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea have top 4 players across different positions. We need same no to get top 4.
I think he's saying they have 4 top players across different positions, but we need the same now to get top 4. I think,
To any interested players looking to join Arsenal, I want to say we are the biggest, most loving fan base offline and online.
Oh, bless.
To have 4 players across each position, though.
Like I kind of get what's being said. Like
Chelsea, you can kind of eradicate with obviously the way that ownership was back previously, and the amount of money they spent on players. If they didn't work, they'll bring in more. They always rebuild, regardless of if one player doesn't work. They had the funds to just buy another one like it was a hobby. Man City and Liverpool, unfortunately, are just a little bit ahead of us. And I don't think they have. I'm trying to think, does Liverpool have 4 in each? Probably not.
Well, but I kind of get, you know...
They have to be fair, they've got to cover it.
You've got Alisson and Kelleher's done well in the Cups. You've got, right back, Trent, Nico Williams and Gomez has played there. At centre-back, Van Dijk, Gomez, Konate, Matip. Left-back, Robertson and Tsimikas. I think Gomez has played left-back before. So kind of immediately, there's kind of 3 options for every position. And then you're looking at holding midfield, where if it's not Fabinho, it can be Henderson, it can be Milner. On the right, you've got Henderson or Keita or Harvey Elliott. On the left, you've got Thiago or James Milner. So I think it's more that. I think, you're using players' names more than once, but ultimately you've got players who can cover a wide, which is why I'm excited by the Jesus and Zinchenko moves. Because I think with Arsenal last season, where it started to go downhill was when we lost a player or two, and you just felt like the whole 11 just started to lose the structure and start to look like a team that could go out and win regularly. Because we'd lost Tierney, we didn't know whether Xhaka should go there or was Tavares good enough or whatever. You just feel like if Tierney gets injured and Zinchenko has to move from midfield to left back and Tielemens comes in, it doesn't feel like you're weakening the team much, does it?
True. Have we been linked to any players that are just one position dimensional? I feel like a lot of I know we spoke about how Arteta really wants versatile players in this Arsenal side, but I'm trying to think every player that we've been currently linked to can play multiple positions. It feels like football is I said this was Turkish. It's how football is moving. Players have to be able to be versatile in multiple positions or multiple styles of play, which does irk me a little bit because I do like defenders that can firstly defend properly first. I do like strikers that just score goals. But nowadays it is completely changing. I feel like Arsenal we haven't really been linked to just a player that does one thing.
But that's why I don't think we will get a Ivan Toney or a...
Good point.
I know we've been linked with Scamacca. I hope I've pronounced it right. I'm Italian, so I really should get that right. But, you know, he seems like a target man, or like a kind of a brute up front who can look after the ball, hit them well.
Fall into that?
Calvert-Lewin falls into that. And listen, I really like those kind of strikers. I think they're super effective. I think they always give you a chance. You could be playing terribly, but one good ball into the box and you've scored, because those strikers give you that. But I don't think Arteta's looking at that kind of player. And if he does, I think he'll look at him as like our fifth player. So I think forget the names exactly for a second, but say a Jesus came in, a Zinchenko and a Tielemens, I think then you'll look for a wide player, and then maybe if you get all that, you think, you know what, then you can add a Toney and give yourself that other dimension. And a lot of clubs have had that. I mean, Origi's been turned to many times by Klopp when they've needed a goal, because he's got a little bit more presence when he's leading the line, a little bit more height to him as well. So yeah, maybe that might be something we look at later. But I just think ultimately he wants players that can play across 3 or 4 positions.
And I believe so too, especially after this season. He might be have a bit of trauma from this season of all the injuries and whatnot, and realising that he has to move players left, right and centre. Rubber Dam with a super chat says, price on Saka if Liverpool comes knocking, ? I mean, mine will always be biased. So, I mean, Saka's price value
2
right
years
now,
left. I mean, I don't know.
English as well.
But Arsenal should take the piss, you know.
They should.
If Liverpool came knocking, you say, cool, 150 million.
Yeah,
I don't think he's worth that. 100%. But that's what you say.
It's the cheek of it to even think, we're going to.
Yeah, you say, okay, fine, that's the price. You know, West Ham has said, what, 120 million for Rice? It's not worth 120 million. But you know, that's what they feel it's worth for them to part ways.
Yeah, a realistic figure would be around, for me, 80 million, 70 million, 70 maybe. No, 80. I'd say 80. But Pepe's 72. Just in the market nowadays, it could be anything. But I think James is right there. If someone comes knocking, you do something unrealistic in like the 150 million region. I'm going to move on to the last little bit just to wrap up. Saliba returning to Arsenal. Obviously, I'm sure we're kind of doing like a round off really of what the news come over through the weekend that you might have heard. Saliba obviously had comments about Arsenal. He's going to be staying here. He's excited to play for Arsenal and play for the fans here at Arsenal Football Club. So he should be returning. I mean, he's kind of guaranteed it himself. He did some elaborate interview to be like, this is my decision, which I found it very interesting, if I'm honest. But I am glad he's staying. Someone that a lot of fans are championed and really do want to see him play in an Arsenal shirt. Had a great... I actually had a thought about this, like Arsenal's loan spells, what have really been successful, and I looked at some of the players that have been on loan and what was deemed as a successful one. I believe William Saliba's was definitely deemed as a very successful loan spell, and I'm very much excited to see him play in Arsenal top. Obviously, some of his stats here, just quickly run through: 2,834 passes completed, which is the most for his club whilst on loan. We've got here 260 possessions won, most as well. Oh, that was most ever, by the way, passes.
Yeah, I saw that stat. I mean, that blew me away. I mean, he really completed the most passes ever in a French league top flight campaign. I mean, that is
phenomenal. 558 progressive carries, most, and I know we did. You might have done a breakdown to this compared to Ben White and Gabriel. He trumps them with the carrying the ball forward, which
I hadn't looked into all that, but I think I saw. It will be one will be something we discuss. Yeah.
Definitely something we'll utilise. And 31 successful dribbles from centre backs, also the most in League One, and obviously Young Player of the Year. So. Very promising. James did mention it will feel like a new signing. I'm just excited to just see him come back into the fold. It'd be interesting to see what Arteta does and how he deploys him, how much game time he will get, and kind of what happens to... I'm more looking at Rob Holding. I know he'll still be part of the club, but it'd be interesting to see if he just continues Rob Holding as you know, a backup centre back, how he was deployed this season. It'll be interesting to see if that he continues to be that, and if Rob Holding.
I think he's here to be given a real go, Saliba, because his value's at an all-time high. Look, we paid 27 million for him, and it looked to point at that we wouldn't get that back. You know what he's done for Marseille, and the fact that he's a French international now, he's got the reputation he's got. You probably could get 40 million back for William Saliba. But I would be pushing for more, but you probably could get that and make profit on him, and he's not even played a game of football for Arsenal. So I think the fact that that he's not off is because Arteta genuinely wants to have a go now and see if he's ready. So that's exciting. And then I think we've got 3 centre-backs we can be really excited about going forward. And then he'll be down to pre-season. You know, there's always someone always picks up a knock on international duty, or pre-season goes well, not quite as ready or whatever. And you tend to find that first lineup of the season isn't often the one you're going to see for most of it. No. At least with Arsenal, I can't remember the last time we went into a opening league game in the season. I thought, right, that's our team, that's our best team, that's what it's going to look like.
We must remember as well, like it might start quite strong, but there's a World Cup in the middle as well. We're going to have to pause where players could get injured, and there's a lot of factors in the new season that do give me a bit of worry. But then we put it down to the Kroenkes and the people getting it right to bring in the right backup and the right signings to bolster the side so we can really compete. Because I really expect a big season from. I expect a big season from Arsenal every season. But the more and more we progress in the campaign, in the Europa League and Premier League, I expect more and more of this side. But that is it. Us guys coming to an end of this AFTV live show. James, I don't know if you have any more closing words. Want to take any comments to round up today's show? No,
thank you for the comments. Thank you for the super chats as well. Dave's just flown in with one last minute. It says White's our best centre back. Clumsy Gabriel gets dropped.
Controversial.
Dave, I love Gabriel.
You always love these mad comments.
I love Gabriel.
So do I.
I feel like White's got his moments in him, but I think the three of them will genuinely have great competition for those places.
And I think you can get the best out of all three of them. I don't think it needs to be a competition of
he
plays ahead of him, he plays ahead of him. I think it is very much so a rotation between the three of them, if I'm completely honest. And with all the games we have, I think that works the best. So that's what I'm looking forward to seeing. Saliba, Ben White and Gabriel. There shouldn't be need to all this competition of places of who starts and plays the most games.
Yeah, if you want to compete with the best, you've got to have competition for places. So let's hope they're all the right competition.
Exactly that. Well, listen, let me round up and just say thank you everyone that joined us on this live, and thank you. Make sure you hit a like on your way out on this video as well. We'll be back with AFTV lives pretty much every day this week as well, so look out for those, giving you the news of the day. And also don't forget Transfer Daily is back. Robbie is there giving you all the transfer news and rumours in the morning, so make sure you check out that as well. Thank you for watching this live, and we'll see you next time. Peace.